up, Scott? Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're feeling better?
A little, yeah.
You're not quite 100%?
Not 100%, but I'm getting there.
Welcome back to
Thank
podcast
you.
number 5.
Give us a good 67% today, all right?
I will try.
And that's right. The voice you hear, she's back. Amber. Lifegroup
back.
Coordinator Extraordinaire. Yeah. So what we're doing today, we're talking about life groups. The reason why a lot of people got questions about life groups. It's that time of year. People are trying to figure out what to do. So we were sitting around the office. We said we need to do an exclusive Simple Church life group podcast. Backstage with the Simple Church. And now you're backstage with, life groups. And we're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I can tell you. No, really, that's the goal.
I just like to focus on the good. You know me.
Oh, my God.
Let's focus
There's
on the
nothing
good.
wrong with that, but you learn from the ugly.
That's true.
It's true.
And the bad.
That's true.
So we're going to try to figure all that out in
right.
45 minutes or less. While you're on your drive to work or picking up the
drive
kids. That's exactly right.
On the treadmill.
That's right.
NPR, they call it a driveway moment.
Okay, well, I don't know about driveway moments, but let's talk about it. All right, so Amber,
Yes, sir.
you're brand new.
Brand new.
You've never done this.
Never been a life group director.
No. You pretty
I've
much.
been in several life groups.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think Scott, you've been in a life group?
I've been in the same life. Well, no, I've been in several life groups.
You've been in care groups when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Like small groups?
Yes,
That was
yeah.
the terminology we used at the.
Yeah, back in the First Exposure Student Ministry.
Yeah, it was
The
care
cool
groups.
phrase.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the reason I was saying that is because a lot of people are listening, they're kind of intimidated by it. They don't even really know what it means, possibly. If you didn't grow up in church and you don't know what Sundays, it's definitely not Sunday school.
Right.
So, because it's, Sunday school was Sunday morning, age bracketed,
Right.
usually in a certain room,
Right.
an hour, and you were in and out, and you've done it.
Just show up.
And typically Bible study oriented, possibly.
Exactly.
Care groups, life groups, have been everything different. When I say care groups, the reason I go back to that is yesterday on podcast number 4, it just came up because they were both middle school and high school pastors. But Evan was in Bobby's small group, care group. So we were talking about the importance of that and for students. And so it was kind of on that podcast as well. But then I said, well, tomorrow we were going to film. We are filming this one. Hi, YouTube.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, we are
Hi.
filming and recording this one. But I was like, I'm excited to kind of hear from you because you're new, your worries, your concerns, your excitements and questions, because I think everybody's really got the same questions. So what do you got in your mind as far as, life groups in this scenario, in Simple Church?
The Simple Church form of a life group is
Yeah.
probably different than any other church life group style.
That you've been in,
That I've
because
been in.
once again, the Simple Church is different than anything you've been in.
Just a tad.
But you chose it.
I chose it. God chose it for me. He just planted me right here.
Oh, Jesus
juked
juke.
you.
I have been told I'm too churchy, Justin.
No. Well, I mean, it's you are what you are.
I am.
You've
and I
come
can't
from
help
what you've
it.
come, and that's okay.
Hey, you're bringing light into the darkness.
That's right.
Yes.
That is
That's
my
what some would
goal.
probably believe, yes. What I would say is no, there's nothing. I mean, you got to remember, we're 12 years out of doing church the way that we've done it before.
Yeah.
So it's eventually, I promise you, there's not a right or a wrong. That's what everybody always thinks too. It's like, oh, well, I'm too church. No, it's not that you're too churchy or not too churchy. Let me give you a different way of saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it comes across as unauthentic or authentic.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that that's true, because that may not be a true statement. You may be in church and very authentic traditionally, and there were people that we grew up with, but we also know that in our experience growing up in there, that wasn't always the case.
Right.
Some of you kind of came in, you put your outfit on, you kind of
Put on a show.
Yeah, well, like you went through a hard time.
Yeah.
I mean, you've gone through I think I've seen my family go through a hard time, and there were times we played the game too. Because it was like, I'm not going to really be honest about that, or we can't. My parents got divorced. My dad was a deacon. My mom was the Sunday school teacher.
Yeah.
We were at a small Baptist church. I promise you, we didn't walk in and go, it was a horrible week this week. Nobody walked in and said, I heard my mom cuss my dad out today. It was awesome.
Right.
I mean, no, we all just put on our little outfits. My
Yeah,
mom
you
said, shut
smile.
up, sit down in that pew, and you play the
You
game.
say I'm fine.
That's
and
right.
You make it till 12.
Yeah, and then everybody got back out there, and we hoped for McDonald's, and I hoped for an early out. That's how silly we were, man. It was poor, man.
I
We were the 70s.
actually hoped for the Sizzler myself.
Yeah, we didn't. That Sizzler was
was a
once a
stretch.
month. Yeah, once a month, maybe once a year, depending on how AT&T did and we got a bonus or not. He worked at Western Electric, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like you didn't get big bonuses back then. But that's the reason I say that. I think because you going through a hard time, you just recently have gone through a divorce.
Yes.
You moved to town.
Move back home.
Move back home. You have we've known each other again for the
Long
people
time.
that are listening. We've known each other a long time. It's not easy. So I was thankful that you were coming home. I'm thankful to have you on board because when you can be authentic and talk through that, I think people connect with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, oh, we got it all figured out. We know everything and we know how to do it and this is what you need to do. And this, no, the truth is, we're like, man, no, I'm straight. You just got out of a prayer thing this morning, and you were
Right.
like, man, it was kind of real, and sorry we're a little late
Yeah,
or
it was
whatever.
heavy. But that's life.
But that's life. And that's what life groups are about. I
Right.
mean, like, that's the thing is it's not just coming in to go, good morning, everybody get their coffee and listen to a little Bible study and walk out. It's like, man, help me through the junk that I'm going through.
Yeah. I think people might have maybe there's a stigma to it, and you think, oh, it's a formal group. We're going to go. We're going to have a Bible study. I've got to do some homework. We're going to watch a video, and then we're going to, oh, stars.
That's because I drank that drink. This is keeping it real. I was like, I want to chew that ice so bad, and I'm like, I'm on the podcast.
I can't chew
So then I
ice.
drank, and I
So
had
he
to just
threw it
throw it
in
over
there.
Amber's head.
That's okay. So people think that it's a certain way. You're going to
Yes.
sit in a big group. You're going to listen. There's going to be a prayer time, and then we're going to go. And it doesn't have to be big group. It doesn't have to be we're going to watch a video. It doesn't have to be we're going to open our Bible and study. You're just going to sit like knee to knee with your friends and talk about life.
And
What's going on?
and you said something key, and this is, again, to me, one of the biggest misconceptions about life groups in the Simple Church is that it's strangers. Like that you get all of these
Right.
unknown people to come into your home, and they sit down and look at you weird, and, oh my gosh, who are these people?
It's
The truth is,
awkward.
it's not. It's like an ideal life group is 6 to 8 people, could be 4 people, could be 5 people, but smaller than 10. And an ideal group is it's people that you know, it's people that you have some relationship with, but you want to add a spiritual element and you want to challenge each other to get a little bit deeper in their walk with Christ. And that can be done through video, that can be done through a Bible study, it can be done in a lot of different ways. But the one thing that's critical is that you build a caring, trusting, safe environment to walk through that. That's why strangers, people that you don't know, it's difficult to do that with. 'Cause you're like, I don't know if I can trust this dude. I ain't talking about my marriage. I'm not, because I don't know who they're going to go talk to or what they're going to go say or whatever. So that's the thing. I think that if this podcast helps at all, it's like, no, man, it's really about your friends. It's about doing life with people that you know. Now, I say all that, so now let me go 180 degrees the opposite direction. My life group, this time, we've done a lot of different life groups. We've done couple groups once a month. I'm actually in a week-to-week guys group. It started off with my friends, but now it's expanded to a couple of more people that are not my initial friends. But with me meeting with them and me talking to the guys, I'm like, hey, man, there's this dude that I really think could fit in, and he really is walking through some stuff. And they're like, sure, bring him in. If he can handle a little cussing, he's going to be all right, you know? And I'm like, I think he'll be able to handle that. Well, and that's not a joke because I don't want to offend somebody.
Right.
Like some of them, they get raw. One of our guys is going through a really difficult divorce. So he's frustrated, and so he'll let that out sometimes. And he's in a safe place. It doesn't offend me. I'm not mad at him about that. But it eventually leads to, man, let's pray for you.
Yeah.
And let's walk through that. And here's what God says. And we do watch a DVD at the end of ours. And, you know, we'll watch a video. And a lot of times that video will say something. God uses that exactly where they need to be. I don't pre-watch them all the time and try to prepare all that. Now, sometimes I look at it. But it has expanded a little bit beyond that. Still under 10 people. But still, it just expanded to where there's a couple more people going, man, yeah, I could really use some help on this. I need to work through that. And I know, Scott, yours is radically different because the group that you're in, you've been in your life group for how long?
Oh, gosh. How long have I been in that life group? 4 years? 3 years?
Yeah, and you're in there with my brother.
Yes.
And it's the
John's
car
life
group.
Yeah, we started with probably 4 or 5 of us. and now there's probably 16 to 18 of us. Mm-hmm. It all started, actually, most of us got connected through the World of Wheels car show. David Gunn, who runs it, and then Sammy San Angelo, we actually meet at his house, and he had a car in the car show. So it's actually a lot of those guys now meet. Like, that's how we got to know Joel. Callie, I can't think of his last name, but he owns Nobody Customs. I want to call him Joel Nobody, but that's not right.
No, he is somebody. He's somebody. If you're in a life group, you're somebody, Scott.
But yeah, we got to meet all these great guys, and like Joel started coming to our life group before he ever started coming to Civil Church.
Well, amen, brother.
Yeah, because he was really against church, and then we got connected through the 49 Ford that we've been restoring for the past 4 years. So that was our connection with him, and then he started coming to the life group and thought, well, this is pretty cool. So that's how he started coming to church. And then there's another guy who, forgive me, I cannot remember his name.
You're really good. Y'all are so tight that the names are just...
They're unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
You're really trying to do it to protect their identity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, this is a private group.
But there was a guy, he owned, he moved to Dallas, but he owned Hammer Down Customs. And before he moved, he said this group, which we didn't realize this, John and I didn't realize, this group was the most important group in his life. He looked forward to this group more than anything else. To which we didn't look at it that way. We were just a bunch of guys that got together. We watch Andy Stanley, and then we talk about cars or work in Sammy. Sammy has a cool house that's half garage, half house, so there's a place we can work on cars. There's a lift and stuff. So we just thought we just stood around and talked about cars, that we didn't realize the impact we were making in his life.
Yeah, and then the cool part about y'all, I mean, obviously, all those people come together different. That is like a common interest group. So they work on cars, they care about cars, they have that in connection. And then there was a do-good component to what y'all are doing. They started working on cars for single moms that were broken, or they started changing free oil changes. We did a couple of things throughout the year on do-good days.
Awesome.
You know, like, hey, I'm a single mom. I don't know how to change my oil.
Yeah.
Well, all those guys would go out and do that. And I'm like, man, it's another great way to do a group. So there's not a right way or a wrong way. Theirs is bigger than that. So there's just 20 people. And it's, y'all meet weekly.
Yeah, we meet weekly. We used to meet nonstop, and that got a little rough. So we're stepping it back now and taking more breaks. We used to just meet. It didn't matter. We only took a break at Christmas, and I think that was it, and Thanksgiving.
All right, so let's talk about that. So you're kind of new, but you can throw in anything. But if there's a question or something, but that's another question people ask us, is if I join this group or if I start in this group, is this it forever? I'm like, no, we encourage you to do more on a semester system, kind of like school. Hey, you can go for the fall semester, you can go for the spring semester. And typically people take the summer off just because of vacations and people are in and out. But there's no right or wrong. There are some people, I know quite a few groups, they go year-round. But like Scott said, you have to be able to kind of judge your group. Like, oh, man, they're getting tired, or they need a break, or whatever. Ours, the ones that I have been in, have been a mixture of both. I've done some that are just a semester and they're done. So there was never an intention of even coming back.
Right.
It was like,
doing a particular study, maybe.
Yeah. Ours was really more, that would have been probably right, but we didn't even really do a study. It was just young couples getting together to go, am I doing this right?
Yeah.
And so we were just talking. So we had mentor couples. This is another huge benefit to me to this methodology or this way of doing it, is we had older people with younger people with middle-aged people. When it was in Sunday school, it's by
30s to 40s.
Yeah, 30s to 40, and you kind of walk in there and go, we're all miserable together. We're in this same stage, and or if it was singles,
Oh my gosh.
we're all miserable together.
When I was in singles, it was literally from 18 to 80.
Exactly, it could be that much.
So it's
Different,
weird.
yeah.
And then it's like, this is awkward,
Yeah.
So the good news about this is, of the methodology it's a way, is that there were a couple of older couples that were able to go, hey, man, we've been there. You're going to get through it. There were people younger than us that we would remember the good times.
Yeah,
I remember
that was
that, dude. That was
fun.
fun. We did that. And they're like, it ain't fun for us. And we're like, oh, you're going. So you had diversity in
Right.
that, where sometimes people that don't have that, where you kind of get in the same group at the same time, it can get kind of monotonous. And you don't really have hope. You don't really know what's going on. You need somebody a little bit more mature than you, obviously, to go, hey, this has worked for us. You need some people with more experience. You need some people that are younger. And that's what's even in our life group now with the guys. It's all ages. It's all stages of life. We have people with very, very small children. We have people that their kids are grown and out of the house. And so they're all in between going, man, don't get too hung up on that. Don't forget this. And I'm going, man, what would we do if it was the old way? You know, it would be difficult. It would be a little bit more challenging. So that's another thing is you don't have to do it by your age. You don't have to do it by the stage of life. You can. I mean, if you go, man, I want to do that for one semester. I just want to meet some people my age.
Right.
You can do it. Because that's the good thing. In Simple Church, man, there's really not a list of, you have to do it this way. Yeah. You can try anything.
The main thing is you need to find somebody that can be your people.
Yep.
Who's going to be your people? Who will you be vulnerable with? Who will you open up with? Who do you want to share with? Who do you want to hang out with?
It makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah, exactly. You got to want to be there.
Yeah, and some people,
Satan's going to find every way to keep you from going and isolate yourself.
And I can say that you bring up a great point. There are many Wednesday nights, or it used to be Monday nights for me, where I'd go, oh my gosh, it's tonight. Do I really want to do that? Almost 100% of the time, there may have been one or two that I can think back, honestly, where I go, oh, that was probably long. Mm-hmm. Every time I'd leave and go, man, that was good. Man, I needed that.
Yeah, like a workout.
Yep. What are you saying, a workout?
That's when you go to the gym. You don't just pay money to the gym. You actually go to the
gym.
I
tell you a funny story on that? Speaking of that, since you're new to Simple Church, this is the best.
I love this.
So we had a contest at the Simple Church. It was a weight loss competition. And so the Simple Church, John, remember, we decided to bless everyone with a gym membership. If you wanted to go to gym membership,
that's awesome.
You had we had weigh-ins, we had all this incentives, and you were going to win big money. I think it was, for us, big money. $500? I was going to say $200 or $300. Maybe it was $500 bucks.
Cash.
You could win $500 bucks. Whoever lost the most weight within a month or 2 months or whatever.
The entire church.
No, just the staff.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No, we don't care about the rest of the church. This was just about us. Just a joke, Scott. That's a joke.
It's a joke.
So we get there, my brother, and they give me this membership or whatever. Where everybody they go. I never went once. Never once did I go. So then they call me and go, "Oh, Mr. Hagler, we're excited to offer you 3 free months." I said, why would you offer a guy 3 free months when I've never walked through the doors? I felt horrible about it. I had good intentions. I wanted to go. Thought I should go, but I never made it.
You never made it?
No, but they offered me 3 months. So I actually had like 15 months for the price of 12.
Look at that.
I know.
What did you do with the gifts God gave you?
Yeah.
The door.
No, I never.
That one.
It's a little weird to me. Gyms are weird, but that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you go, if you went to the gym, you
I
would
need
appreciate
to.
going to the
I mean,
gym.
look at me. I'm a specimen here, but I need to.
But life groups are that way.
Right.
You're so glad you went.
Ooh, way to bring it back around.
Yeah, thank you. That's what she knew. She knew.
Life groups.
All right.
Are that.
So when you've come in, you went to training just a couple of weekends ago. You went down to
Yes.
Houston area.
I did, the Woodlands.
The Woodlands, and it was purpose driven. Saddleback. Who was doing the training? I don't even know who was going.
It was Saddleback Church.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Gladney, Steve Gladney.
Yeah, they probably won't know who that is. But
he
idea.
is the guru of life groups.
Ooh.
I just made that up.
Oh, okay. Probably not.
But he's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
Apparently, Saddleback has more life groups, more people attending life groups than they do people attending church.
We're a long way from that.
We're a long way from that, but we're going to work on it.
But that's pretty awesome.
That's amazing. And that is, they put together a whole, 48 hours packed of how's the best way to do
What's
life groups
one
and
thing,
what.
what's one thing you go, that was probably most helpful? Because you've never done it. The reason I say it is let me tell you why Amber's hired, because you're going, why'd you hire if she's never done it? Well, because she's extremely sweet, very smart, very capable of leading and helping people take those steps. So I'm like, why wouldn't we hire Amber? So I know you can do it, but not knowing how to do it, was there anything that you were like, wow, this was really impactful to me?
I mean, there were 20 key points that were all super impactful. The first thing they told us is you have to go slow, build slow, and the most important thing is not your numbers. It's the health of your groups.
Okay, good. So let's talk about that. That's a great point. Everyone asks us, and especially if you go out, well, in the church world, let me be clear. Mm-hmm. The church world, like, they always look at each other and compare and kind of compete, a little bit of competition here, like, well, how many do you have? And blah, blah, blah. We have never been good at life groups. So we pretty much stink at life groups and have from day one. When it comes to the numbers, what we were really good at is not the size or the amount of the groups that are meeting, but I think what we've been very successful is that the groups that are meeting are helpful and that they
Yes.
are working to help people take that step. So when people criticize the Symbol Church and say, well, you just don't have any discipleship program, you just don't have any way for people to grow, it's like, it's really not true at all. Are the numbers equal to the amount of people that we're reaching? No, because we're still learning. We're only 12 years old. We're not a 100-year-old church. We're not a 50-year-old church. We don't have the facilities you have. We don't have the leaders that you have possibly. But what we're working on is to trying to figure that out. We're going, all right, how can we develop those leaders, create environments that are healthy and that help people take that step, whatever the next step is in their growth. Right. And that's what's been pretty cool is seeing that. But yeah, are there, a bunch of groups? And that's why I was trying to tell you when you're coming on to work. It's like, really, I mean, we've had, again, different people help in that leadership position. Mm-hmm. But none of us has knocked it out of the park. We've all tried, and we'd all come back together, and sometimes they're depressed about it. They would be frustrated, like, man, I'm a failure. I'm like, no, you're not a failure. We're working through this. We are trying to figure it out, knowing that in this environment, it is difficult, but quit focusing on the numbers. Now, obviously, you got to know how many you have,
right.
And on average, people say, well, how many do you have? Well, we've had as many as 50 groups. That's not a lot for our church, but that's a lot for us, And then other times it'll go down and there's not quite so many. But the reason why is they're trying to still figure out where they can plug in. But I think the reason that we've never launched more, and I bet Saddleback would be able to tell us this is true, is they still think it's a Sunday school class. We're in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
So people are thinking, well, I got to find my class. I'm like, no, you got to start your class.
Exactly.
That's the biggest difference. It's like, no, we're not looking for you to find your class. We're looking for you to start meeting with your friends, and we'll give you the tools to help you take the step.
And that is my biggest need right now. I have people that want to be in a class that I don't have a class for.
Right.
So people, we live in a day and age where we want to be spoon-fed. We want it offered to us, handed to us, given to us. But sometimes you got to take that step to start it.
You're going to just get them fired up.
You got to take the step to start it. And we have so much information at the office that we can give to them for them to do with their friends where they don't have to do that. We probably should talk about how to host.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Small little
because you don't
have for hosting. It's not serious. You don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to have a Bible degree. You don't have to.
No, you don't. And that's why if they can get it.
Yes.
If they can get it, they'll figure it out. Because we took the acronym from Saddleback, or I don't remember who, or somebody, but it was basically a heart for people. You got to have a heart for people. You don't like people, you ain't going to do this very well.
Your thing.
No, but you got to have a heart for people. You also got to have the ability to open your home. So
that's an O.
That's an O. Yeah,
H. Heart.
Yeah, O. But when I go back to opening their home, I don't really open my home. So this is once a little bit. It's really we should maybe change it just to be
open
willing to
an environment somewhere.
Open an environment.
Opening
because
yourself.
like for us, we meet at a restaurant, and then we meet maybe at someone's house, or we meet at a store. We meet at the do-good store before. We've met at the office. We've rotated around. Sometimes we just continue our meeting at the restaurant we're in. We never even move from the restaurant. Serve them something to eat or drink. You got
yes,
yeah.
That is
you
key.
Well, y'all eat, dude. If you don't have anything to eat, we're Simple Church. We eat.
Yeah, we rotate.
We don't work
our
out,
meals
but we eat.
If you feed them, they will.
Yeah,
come.
and it's even more interactive because we break it down. So somebody will bring an entree, somebody will bring a side, somebody will bring bread, somebody will bring.
Them getting organized.
Yeah, so it's John Hagler.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it helps because then it provides variety, and then it's like, and guys get and it's a way too because we're a male only group, but like the wives will cook for the group, so it's nice. So it's kind of interaction that way because the guys can be like, "Hey, my wife made this," and we're like, "It's the best thing we ever tasted."
Well, I can tell you, Tricky's wife made something last night. That would be a joke. He went by Posadas, and I got some fajitas last night.
There you go.
I went and snuck some food out of John's group before I left.
Did you?
I was not there.
Yeah, no, you didn't feel good. But that was the whole point. Is you do have to have something to eat. You can see it loosens everybody up too when you get down and you start eating and hanging out. And then you have to turn on the DVD player. They were watching last night a Bible study from Andy Stanley because it's Valentine's, about marriage and helping with their wife. Our group is walking through one with Andy Stanley called Follow right now. You have the best teachers in the world,
Right.
best communicators in the world, available now through the internet and through DVD. So we choose to use them, and you can use anybody. So if you don't like Andy Stanley, I get it. Pick somebody you do like. A lot of people don't even know who they are, so we usually try to help them with that.
Right.
Like, what are y'all wanting to walk through? You know, we want to work on our marriage, or I'm really struggling with my prayer life, or I'm working through whatever. Well, then there's different studies and different things that people can do to go through that.
There's a study for everything. So there's your HOST.
That's
You
right,
want to be a
host.
host.
And hopefully, prayerfully, they will begin to people go, you know what, I might could do that. And you do have to risk it. I mean, for the biscuit, you got to risk it.
You got to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
But sign up to host. Or, don't even it doesn't even have to be official yet. Just get 3 or 4 of your friends together and say, let's commit. Let's be intentional about our time. Let's commit. We're going to pray for each other. Amber's going to let me have this study. I can just go check it out and give it a shot. And I think.
And all you're going to do is try to help them.
All
So
I'm
you're
gonna
not
do
even
is
going to
help.
try to micromanage
I
them.
am not going to micromanage
you're
them.
the
I'm not-
guide.
They just don't have to do anything except those 4 things. Have a heart for people, open their homes, serve something to eat, drink, and turn on their TV. And that's it.
And this is the thing. So I think about Amber, why we like her, and why we should not just like her. We love you.
Aw.
Why we love her is because you really do have the heart to help people. So if they'll call you, you're going to call them and check on them and go, hey, you okay? You need anything? But if they go, Amber, we're struggling with this. You got a prayer partner. You're going to pray for them. You're going to
Right.
encourage them. That to me, and she was a teacher, so she's organized. Unlike some of the people, Daniel Nelson, he was not very organized at times. You know what I'm saying? Like I love him. He's one of my best friends.
Right.
But it would be like, oh man, yeah, I was gonna do that. You know, we joke about the organization part of it is a key because you got to get the information, or you need to know what's going on with them or whatever. I love
Yeah.
you, Daniel. You know, I'm picking on you, but it's the truth. Is you got to have a mixture of all those things to know that somebody's there to help you. You're not just distant. You're available to meet the need if they need it.
Yeah.
I was going to go back to, I just have a question. I don't know what I was going to go back to. I'm sorry, I'm still a little sick. But you did say earlier that people were asking you, that they wanted to join a group but they couldn't find it.
Right.
Are people asking for the same group, or is it a variety? Like, are most people asking for, I want this
really
kind?
a singles group for the older crowd. So there's a singles group that's young, 20 to 26 probably. But that 30, older than 26, younger than 45.
That
I've
would
got
be me.
several of those that would like to have a group.
So Scott should start one. What we're saying right now,
I think so.
Scott, do you have a heart for people?
Sometimes.
Can you open your home?
Are you willing to serve them a little something to eat?
Yeah.
Drink?
Do you know how to turn on the TV?
See, boom, there's your next
I'm not
host.
gonna
There's
I probably won't open my home in particular, just because
you have
My
kitty
cats.
cats.
my kitties would not appreciate
You could
that.
find a location. But here's the thing, like Terry Seaman, one of my buddies that's in my men's group, he did a singles group for a while, and it is challenging because singles have it comes into a bigger group. So there's different types of groups. So let's go through this real
Right.
quickly. The ultimate goal is to get into a small enough group where you're doing life together to help that person take a step. It's hard to do with 30. It's hard to do with 20. It's getting a little bit more challenging at 8. But really, you get in the 4 or 5 range, you can be like, man, where are you at? Come on, we
Right.
got to take this step. What I have found in the 12 years of Simple Church is that the singles want 50 in a group because they on the prowl, son.
They want to shop.
So they're wanting to go like, hey, man, why can't we get together and go eat? Or why can't we do it? There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not really a life group.
Yeah.
That's more of like just a hangout group. That's more of like a connecting point.
Or a mixer.
Yeah, and that's okay because you can have different ways to do that. Well, hey, we're going to go to the Revel or we're going to go do whatever. But the spiritual component and the growth component is kind of getting more into a small enough group where there's some accountability. There's more, how are you doing? You're praying together. You're really walking through it. Within a big group, it's more like a Sunday school class. You just come in, they watch the thing, man, see y'all next week. Where I think that was, if Terry was here, which, he would probably say that was some of his frustration. Like, hey, man, he wanted to meet other people too. So it wasn't like he was against that. But that's why he came back to like a smaller men's group. Is like, man, I'm not in it just to hang out. I'm trying to really get better. And I know people that were in 3 or 4 groups because they all did something different. There was a running group.
Yeah.
They went and they just ran, and they still had a little Bible study component. They had some accountability, but then they were also in There's some that struggle with addiction, and so they were in an addiction group, and they were going, hey, man, I'm going to go to the running group, I'm going to go to the addiction group, and then I'm going to go to this other men's group. I know personally people that were doing all three, so I'm going. They were out every night. I know a lot of people like, dude, I ain't doing that. Ain't no way I'm doing that. So you got to evaluate, what are you looking for? And then hopefully, as Amber's coming in and we can kind of experiment with some things, we might could do mixers where it's an organized event for a certain age that will help launch groups out of that. So if you come together to watch a game,
idea.
if you come watch a game or whatever it is, like, hey, man, we've done it before in the past. They would pull them together for the Super Bowl. They would, and then go, hey, man, anybody want to launch a group out of this? And then they were like, oh, I don't know.
I'm sorry. In my head, I got this picture of this middle school dance of like the guys on one side and the girls on everybody. They're just standing there staring at
It's been a long time.
I know. I'm sorry. That's just the image that came to my head. I'm sure, and I know it won't be like that.
We're gonna make it way cooler than that.
Yeah, I know it won't be like that. That's just what popped in my head, and it made me laugh. I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. You got issues in your head anyway, though. That's why we're praying for you as we walk through this. That's not a secret for anybody that knows you.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor Scott.
All right. Any other questions? I mean, y'all doing? I think we're doing. I think it's very helpful. I think people are getting there.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why am I raising my hand?
Well, we recognize you. We see
Because I'm a
you.
teacher,
Yes.
and I'll call on you.
Yes.
Yes, Scott.
So 2020, what do you in particular hope to accomplish?
I would love to have more hosts so that people can come to me and say, I want to be in a life group, and I'll say, I've got the perfect spot for you. So that is really our biggest need, I think, right now, is to have more hosts. And honestly, just to get to know the people better, for them to know me. I want them to know my story. I want them to know why I'm here, because my life groups, my people, are what saved me and got me through the awful drugs of divorce. I mean, it was just the worst time in my life, and I could not have made it without my people and being vulnerable to my people. I have a very, it's hard for me to admit when something's not going right. I'm always, it's fine, I'm fine, we're fine, I'm fine, it's all fine. And so you got to have people in your life that'll tell you, I know you're not fine, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, and you got to be able to break down the walls, and you're not going to do that with a stranger or with just an acquaintance. You got to be in life with some people, because like we say, life gets lifey, and everybody's got something. It might be divorce, it might be money, it might be health, it might, whatever it is, you have got something that is hard for you, and there's no reason why you should have to do it by yourself. God intended us to be with people. Jesus was in a life group.
He was. He had his boys.
He had his boys. He called them and said, y'all going to be my group.
And sometimes they were with him, and sometimes they weren't.
That's right.
I mean, because the reason I
true
say that
story.
is you could get frustrated, like, man, I needed them and they weren't. Welcome to Jesus' world. There were times that he was in the worst point of his life.
Literally.
But it's not a reason not to do it. That's why I keep going back to it. Sometimes people have been burnt or it didn't go well, and they're going, I did this and that's not. Listen, man, I know it's not easy. It's people. We fail. We mess up. We don't know what we're doing. We are totally imperfect.
Yeah.
So you can't get frustrated because it didn't go well or it wasn't what I thought it was. Is try something. Try it again, because without it, you can't make it. I mean, you're going through, for example, just the difficult time that you were in, Amber, and your people, like you said, helped you get through it. Imagine on any given Sunday how many people are sitting in that audience going, how am I going to get through this week?
Mm-hmm.
And I had done all the Bible studies. My 20s, I did every Beth Moore known to man. I did all the Bible studies, and all I wanted to do in my whole 20s to my 30s was get married and have a baby. That's all I wanted to do.
You had 2 babies.
And I got to have 2 babies. But then I got married and had my babies, and then it was like, oh, life is...
complicated.
Yeah, like all my dreams had come true, but then it started getting hard. Like life is lifey, life is hard, marriage was hard. And so I knew so much biblical truth, but even with that, I was struggling when I was keeping it to myself.
Yeah. I
And
appreciate that.
My personality is keep it to myself, say I'm fine. And part of me wanted to just believe that it was going to be fine, that Jesus was going to fix it, and I was praying about it, and sometimes he doesn't fix it the way we want him to fix it, and you got to accept it and just be vulnerable about it and say, this is not going the way I wanted it to do, and I need some help from some people. So it was my people that drug me out of my, just the mess that I was in. And once I admitted it, once I became vulnerable and admitted it, it was amazing how, the troops rallied, and I was able to rise above the junk that I was in and actually start making a plan to get myself out of the yucky marriage. And then within 3 months of me really being vulnerable and telling people, God finished my divorce, gave me the ability to move out of state of Texas with my kids, which does not ever happen.
Right.
That was a miracle. And then planted me here at Simple Church with my friends that I've known forever. So, I mean, I had been praying to get to come home privately. I didn't share that with anybody, but I wanted to move back to Louisiana. And so God answered that prayer. I got to come back to Louisiana, and then I got to come home and work with my friends here at Simple Church.
Come on, son. Come on, give it up. Guess.
Crazy.
And make new friends.
But with all that high, if I had not told anybody, I could still be sitting in Dallas today wearing a hole in the sheets in my bed, which I actually did because I was so sad and depressed. I would go to work and come home and get in the bed.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I would parent from the bed. I mean, it was just bad. But I was in Dallas by myself. All my family's here, and I could just say, I'm fine. Everything's fine. And until my mom, God bless her, and then some of my really good, strong friends just said, we know you're not fine. And so I let a little bit of the truth squeak out. And it was like my mama slapped her hands on her knees and pulled her chair up close to me. And she was like, I knew it. We're getting, and everything just went into place to get me out of the mess.
Okay, so how long did you struggle with that? Like not telling anybody.
2012 is when it started, and then 2017.
So 5 years.
2018 is when I confessed. So 6 years of keeping a secret of my husband had affairs, and he had lost several jobs, and it was just tough. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. And so at least I was in my mind, I was still getting to be with my babies. I was home. I was doing what I wanted to do, what God I knew had made me to do. But it was hard, and I kept telling myself, you know what? Marriage is not a fairy tale. It's supposed to be hard. Everybody's got a hard, and this is just my hard. And I'm going to pray it through, and I'm going to trust that God's going to make it better. And I'm just going to pray for my husband, pray for my marriage, and I'm going to just put a smile on every time I come back to Shreveport. I'm fine. Life is great. Life is good. And so you do that for 5 years, it'll wear you out.
Eventually it gets you.
And then I had to go back to work full time. And so being a stay-at-home mom and then jumping right back into full-time work with a marriage that's falling apart, you're not gonna make that unless you have your people and your friends that will surround you and hold your hands up. There was a time Moses was standing on the mountain. He had to, as long as he held the not the sword, what am I trying to say? The staff. Mm-hmm. As long as he held it up, they were winning the fight. And then he got tired. He couldn't do it. So he had to have two friends hold his hands up. And that's really like the picture of my life is I was so tired I could not do it anymore by myself. And so I had friends that helped me. They rallied around me and helped me. And it was a small core group of people that who knew me intimately. And so I just really am passionate about that, about people having their people.
Come on, son. That's what you're trying to do. So, that's why, see, now you know why we love Amber even more.
Yeah, I want people to have their people. I don't want anybody to suffer by themselves because that is Satan's goal. He wants you to be by yourself, alone, isolated, and to feel defeated.
And this is why, by you being honest and transparent, which I really greatly appreciate, is because in our environment, it is no secret. We've had our share of struggles. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody and everything's going on. And the one thing that I'm probably most thankful for, well, there's a lot of things I'm thankful for, but one of the things at the top of the list is that in the Simple Church, that you have the permission to work through the mess. Where in other environments, when I grew up in church, I didn't fit. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but I didn't see it a lot. I saw a lot of people say that, but then they kind of ate them up behind the scenes. They would, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm praying for you. And then I'd hear them go back behind the doors like, can you believe? Oh, my God. And I'm like going, golly, man. Yeah. And we're not perfect. I'm not saying we get it right all the time either, Simple Church, because we don't. But what I strive for is to be there to listen, to try to put the tools in place, to have the things in place to help the person take the step. Counseling is a huge part of that. We've paid for a lot of people's counseling in the last few years because we realize that's a problem that needs to be solved. We talk about solving problems in Simple Church. It's like, don't ignore the fact that you can have your people around you, and it is critical to have those people around you, but then sometimes they don't know. Right. So then they're going, man, I feel bad that I don't know what to say. I don't know how to do it. Well, then if the church, and if someone comes to us in that situation or Amber in that situation, we can say, listen, we're going to help you with that. You don't have to have all the answers, but let's get that person that's in your group into counseling. We'll help pay for that. Yeah. That's a huge deal. Huge. Yeah, because then they're going, man, I need professional help, whether that's for your kids or whether that's for you personally or whether it's for somebody in your group. We have had horrible, difficult circumstances happen, and the only way we all got through it was because of counseling. Christian counselors stepping alongside of us going, man, everybody's got something. We're all working through it, and here are the tools or the resources to get through it. There were some people in our church that, I mean, like Daniel, even when he was leading his life group, he had someone that was convicted of murder.
Wow.
So the family and the friends in the group, they all had to work through that.
Yeah.
That's horrible. That is as difficult as it gets. Well, you don't just get to go, man, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
No, it's like, man, I need some help. I need to really get through this. There's tons of examples and circumstances. I mean, some of the addictions and the cost for the family members, it's been hard. But the positive has been through a small group of people, through counseling, you can see now how God worked and how God is doing some really cool things. And it's through that transparency of going, dude, I'm not all right. I need some help. Yeah. Somebody throw me a bone. Somebody be willing to talk to me. Somebody be willing to help me. And we're not perfect. We're not going to have it all figured out, but we do know some things to do. We do know some people to call. We do know some places, some Bible studies, some helpful things. There's a great prayer team behind the scenes that works at Simple Church that every time you fill out a prayer card and puts those things together, they commit to that to prayer. So there's a lot of cool things that people aren't always aware of that you can have access to, but you got to go, hey man, I want to be there. I need some help on that.
Yeah, you just got to take that little step.
Proud of you for talking it out.
Thanks. There's way more. Like we could.
Well, that's another podcast.
But that's another podcast for another day.
We'll do that when we talk about you personally.
Well.
Yeah, because each staff member is going to have their own podcast day where they just kind of walk through their life and share their stories and things.
Yeah, I'll make sure to bring tissues.
Tissues.
Are you? You think there's going to be some tissues
involved? We're going
involved?
to bring pom-poms because Jesus did it.
Oh, come on, look.
We're going to cheer. It was awful for a while, but you know what?
Now you're here.
Yeah. And there's a lot, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people still in the awful. They got to know that they can get there. That's a cool thing. It's okay to be honest about it.
It can happen.
All right, we got about another question or anything we want to wrap up with. We're getting close. Anything else you want to say, Scott? Any other questions?
Well, first of all, the guy's name was Micah. I had to look it up, but Micah. I remembered Micah Freeman
Micah.
and then Joel Williams.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that in there at the end. I'm sorry for forgetting you both. Yeah. It's my bad.
It's all right. You can tell relationships are really mean a lot to you, Scott.
Wow. Hey, I deserve it. It's okay.
Oh, I'm kidding.
We probably should talk one last little bit about what do you do if you want to host a life group? Okay. What do you do if you want to be in a life group?
Do they email?
They can email me.
What's your email?
At thesimplechurch.tv.
Okay.
They could meet me at we're going to have a kiosk coming up. We should talk about the kiosk.
We're launching new kiosks this week.
It's going to be exciting. So come find me at church. I'll get your information, and then we'll figure out together how to get you plugged in or how to get you started with a life group. We've got a new one coming. Can we talk about Autry doing his life group for first responders?
Yes, awesome.
So we need to get. He wants to host one. But we need the people now to fill the spots.
Oh, yeah. You just announce it and you'll get cut. So we have a firefighter that's going to open up a group for first responders. He's going to do a small group for life group for.
If you're single and you want to start a life group, I will help you with
Is there a place they can see them, though? Where do they go if they're...
Yep, actually, I'll have a QR code if they come see me at church where they
Is it online, though?
It's online.
Is it through the app, I wonder?
I don't know if it's through the app yet, but it will be after we tell Caleb to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's just a way to get there.
But it is online. It is online under, ministries. You look at life groups, and then there's a link that'll send you straight to all of our life groups that we have available.
And they can meet anytime, any place, anywhere.
Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Just got to be willing to host.
Yeah.
It could be small. It could be 4 people. It could be 3 people.
It could be 3 people.
It could be 50 if they have enough people that want to do it.
We've got a ladies group that's got 40 plus in it, and they love it, and they're not going anywhere, and they're not splitting up. They love their people.
That's their people.
Good. That's their people. There's really no parameters that we're going to make you stay between except
nothing illegal or
love
immoral.
God, love people, and help solve problems.
Yeah, don't be illegal or
And
immoral.
don't be illegal and don't be immoral. Exactly. Those 2 parameters will keep them away.
Yeah.
I like how we have to add that too.
Well, there has been times when there's been some, I would say illegal activity.
Questionable.
Yeah, never been.
Questionable.
Because anytime you got people together, I mean, come on, man, keep it real. You never know,
We're going to do our best to honor God when we're together.
That's exactly right. That's what I told him. I said, you can do foolish stuff on your own, but when you
Yes,
when you
when
commit
we're
to be a host
together,
for an hour or 2 hours on a
we're
week,
gonna honor
come
God.
on, bro, keep it real.
Yeah.
Be good, dog. Do good.
Keep your coronavirus and coronas to yourself, maybe.
Right, yeah, we do. That is a good question. All right, we'll end on that because
Okay.
some people say, we're not real sticklers and hardcore on, you can't. But when it comes to life group, we have a lot of people who struggle with addiction.
Yes.
A lot in the simple church. So why in the world, the New Testament tells us this, why would we intentionally try to trip someone up?
Right.
So we don't like alcohol in our groups. We don't allow alcohol in our life groups. The only reason why is not because we're mad at you or we're trying to control you or we think you're wrong or none of that stuff's true. The truth is that if someone comes in and they struggle with that takes them down, and we don't want to ruin their life and their family over something that's not an issue for you.
Yeah.
That's what I try to tell people all the time. I mean, we've gone on mission trips before, and somebody says, man, I've had a great trip, and I want to get a beer at the end of it. I'm like, dude, I would have no problem with that, except for I got 4 people in this group that struggle with addiction, and they say you do that, dude, and I don't want to ruin their family or their marriage or their life. And 99% of the people that hear that go, dude, you right, that's my bad. I said, go home, man. You can do what you need to do on your own. That's fine. I mean, that's between you and the Lord. And we all got our things we're
Right.
working through. But I'm like, dude, come on. When it's this little amount of time or this life group, come on, help me out.
Yeah. We're just going to honor God with our time.
That's it, son. You got it. There you go, life groups. See, come on, give it up for Amber
There we go.
Scott.
Good
there we
job,
go.
Amber.
I try.
Oh,
That
you
was
did
great.
good. And if we have more questions, email Amber at thesimplechurch.tv for life groups. You can
That's
also
Amber at
go
The
on
Simple
our
Church.
website, www.thesimplechurch.tv, for more information.
There you go.
We love y'all. See you Sunday.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Thanks so much for joining us. That's what I was trying to
Yeah, tune in next time to our next
Yes.
Backstage with Simple Church.
Yes, with somebody new. Haven't quite
Mystery.
figured out who that is yet.
Way to go, Scott. You're on top of it. Till next time.
I'm sick.
Peace.
He is. Peace.